this video I'm going to show you how to create some backgrounds that are really easy to doodle on. I'll go through all the colours that I'm using at the end. The first one I'm going to start with is the wax paper, because that takes the longest to get some lovely texture on the page, so I'll start there. And I've got a really big brush, a bit of water, and let's start with this lemon yellow. And we know that yellow gets dominated by every other colour, so starting out with yellow is an easy thing to do. And in fact, if I want to keep that yellow as pure, I'll be thinking I need to protect it. I'm going to dump that brush and use another really big brush. This here is Amazonite Genuine. Oh, I thought I'd squeezed out fresh, but I haven't. Doesn't matter. I'm going to just drop some of that in a playful manner. And I want it to remain lovely and wet because I'm about to put this on. Just put that in contact with the page, and I want that in contact with the page. Now, see how there's these little tiny dotsy kind of things here? That means that it has not adhered to the paper, and I need a hell of a lot more water in order to get that to happen. I've got a really big flat brush, and I'm going to saturate the page now, because the wax paper won't do anything without lots of water and lots of contact. So that one's going to end up being beautiful and soft because I've put a lot of water on it. Now I'm just going to take a second to make sure it's crunchy and quite abstract. I might put a space between the, that's one piece there and one piece there. So if I put a lovely space. Now, we all know that watercolour dry is a bit lighter, so have a look at the tone. If you're happy with that tone, then make it darker, because it will not dry like that. If you think it's too dark, you're fine. I'm just going to add a bit of tone, and if I'm lucky, I'll keep some of that yellow pure over there. There we go. Oh, that's lovely. Maybe I'll get more of this lemon yellow and increase the amount of yellow in there and there. Oh, and up there. Oh, yep. I'm just being quite playful about that. And now I'm going to tip the board and make sure that the colours are moving under the and make sure that the colours are moving under the wax paper. But also I want to get rid of the excess moisture so it can dry. I'm going to mop over here. Lovely. That's going to make a lovely textured background for doodling on later. This one down here, I'm going to keep some edges that have a hard edge to them. I'm going to continue with the same lovely colours. This beautiful lemon is just so beautiful with my lovely dark green. So this time I'm not going to be spraying any water. Oh, not that I did on that one, but in particular, I'm just going to drop colour in. So I've got an edge, and I'm going to allow that to just be the edge. This is actually surprisingly hard for me to do, because I have this urge all the time to create artwork that goes to the edge of the page. The third colour, I'm going to use a slightly smaller brush. The third colour that I squeezed some out of is alizarin crimson. So if I drop alizarin crimson into that green, I'm going to create some marks that are going to be wonderful later on for drawing around. And I cannot tell you how desperately I want to drag the colour. Oh, look, what the hell. I'm going to just drag out little ones with that yellow, some of the yellow on the outside. It just bothers me when the page isn't covered. It's so weird. Okay, now I'm going to make it touch the edge. So what does it matter what my original goal was? It really doesn't matter. I'm enjoying myself, and could there be anything better than that? I'll put, as I mentioned earlier, I'll do the colours in more detail at the end and their relationship to each other. Oh, that one is an absolute beauty. I'm going to wash my brush because it came in contact with the other colours. Okay, I'm absolutely in love with that. I've got 2 more to do and some other tools to use on those ones. So I'm going to rotate my board so you can still see what I'm doing. Let's come in firstly with our beautiful enormous brush, put on a stack of water, go up to there. I'm just doing some diagonal marks quite carefully. It's actually a bit hard for me to see when I'm looking this way, but if I put my head right down on the side, it's really easy to see where the paint is. I'm going to continue with the same method of putting down the yellow. So I'm going to put my head on the side, and I'm just going to drop colour in, and it's very likely to spread out into the water. Perhaps this one can have a little more alizarin. So again, I'll stick my head on the side so I can see where the colour goes, and look at the way alizarin moves versus the yellow. Isn't that stunning? Different pigments do behave differently. That's going beautifully, and I cannot resist adding some of this green. A little more water, and perhaps I'll just repeat the lovely edge diagonal kind of shape I had going there. Oh, I love how it's hit there, so I'm going to make it hit there. Just splattered everywhere. I'm just using the edge of this brush now to create that green. Just wash that off. Because I've because I've added some green down here, I feel compelled to balance it off with some green up here. So just by using the end of the brush, I'm going to create some lovely soft marks because I'm going into the water. So I mentioned at the beginning that I've got an Inktense pencil. You can do this with a piece of sandpaper, or because I didn't have a piece of sandpaper in my studio, I thought, well, I'll just improvise and use my palette knife, and which is kind of cool because it's making a texture in a different way. So this is an Inktense pencil, and when that hits the water, I was expecting it to kind of spread a little bit, but it will adhere, so that's quite good, and that might be quite helpful later to do something into it. The other thing that I've got is a lovely old toothbrush, and I'm going to splatter a colour. So do I splatter green? I'm going to splatter yellow. Okay, I'm not going to bother to wash it, to wet it first, because there's plenty of moisture here, and I want the colour to be intense, and then I'm going to stick it straight into this lemon yellow. And the lemon yellow I've got here is quite viscous, so if you can see that there, it's quite viscous on the brush. And then let's see what happens as we put that yellow into all of the colours, and I think I'll allow it to come outside of the colours as well, especially over here where there's nothing. Oh, I think I'll put some here where there's nothing as well. And in that lovely section, I'm being completely playful. I'm not really looking for something that is going to be wonderful later on, but I am just looking for different methods. This one, though, is, I'll just move that over to the camera. This one is just inviting me already to create. I'll just do that again because the camera was, I was just saying this one here is already inviting me to come in and do some lovely doodling on top of that one. Now I've got all this excess water, And if I leave it on there, I will get some wonderful backgrounds. So I'll just leave it there for a little bit while I create the last one and see if something marvellous happens. I've also got now a straw and some markers. These are Winsor & Newton water-soluble markers. So I've done something kind of roundish, I've done something kind of angular, so that's quite good. I've been watching a lot lately of people drawing beautiful shapes, and then they just, like, it's called neurographic drawing, correct me if I'm wrong, and you just draw on these beautiful lines. That was one end. I'll just go to the other end, which is thicker. I'm just going to continue. You just do a series of continuous lines. Now I'm going to use yellow. That is supposed to be blue, but it looks really dark. It's supposed to be, it says it's light fast and it's transparent and lamp black. It's got blue ends on it, but the actual, oh my gosh, I know, this was a freebie. It's black. I'm done. I've done it already, so I don't think I'll worry. Okay, yellow. Then what you do to those lines is you come in, and every time there's an intersection, you turn that intersection into a smooth join. This is picking up the black as I'm going round, but that's okay. I'm doing kind of like my quickie version of the joins, but if you watch anything on neurographic art, it's quite, it's more careful than what I'm doing, but I don't care. As always, this is my art. I get to do as I please. That's the yellows. Now I'm going to just clean that tip on my towel, try and get that black off. Go back to my black. This is the thin end. I'll use the thicker end purely because it'll make me faster when I do these joins. They're really neat when they do them. I've been wondering if I might enjoy it, and I can see now that I'm finding it a little bit like I want to hurry it up, so not enjoying this as much as I thought I might. And I think, though, it's really enjoyable to watch someone else doing it. Isn't that the case with so much art? Sometimes it's just full-on pleasure to watch someone else doing something in art that you might like. Okay, you could do more, you could do less. It's completely up to you. I mentioned that I have this really long brush. The long handle is very unusual, would suggest that it's not meant for watercolour necessarily. It's a rigger and it's a mahogany handle, and I absolutely love it and forget to use it because it's so long it never sits just with my normal stuff. So I'm just going to drag this through. I'm going to wash it each time so that it's not just continuing to drag the black around, but sometimes I'm going in the same direction and sometimes I'm creating new marks. Just enjoying myself. Definitely love to do this part of it. And I think that's partly why you're probably watching, is to discover things that you like to do, or you might discover things that you like to watch, which I totally get. Right, so what I've done is change the marks. Just get it to zoom in again. There. So I've changed all the marks so that they are half soft and half half soft and half hard lines. You get a bit of both. I've got this beautiful yellow, so it's quite a big brush, so I might add some in just to enjoy painting in those shapes, and of course allowing the wet in wet. And the beauty of watercolour is its ability to be wet and wet. That's the absolute joy for me. Could do with a little bit of yellow in there. And I'm just staring at it now to go, oh, what else shall I add? This one is just calling me to decorate with some lovely doodles, so that's really cool too. I've got some red. Will I add a little bit of red into this or keep it? No, I'll keep it as is. I'll get rid of that one. I could, however, add a tiny bit of green. Yeah, I think I'll add a little bit of green. Getting rid of all those ones. I've still got this enormous brush, and the enormous brush makes you, firstly, it makes you fast, but also it means that you can't just go straight into detailed work, and the detail is going to come much later with the doodle. And a bigger green one in there. Okay, let's move. I've got this straw too, so I'm just going to turn this around closer to me and think about blowing. Oh, I blew it into there. Turn it round again and have a little mop up for any excess water. I like this one, so I don't want that to pour into there. So I'm mopping so it can't. Now, if you don't want these big backgrounds, oops, I'm talking about one off camera. If you don't want these to become big background runs, you could mop it off at this point, but I do want the backgrounds to occur. Okay, coming back to our wax paper. Is it doing anything? A little bit. That's pretty cool. I'm going to take one off and then let's get out the dryer so we can dry them all, and then we can work out what to do next. I'm going to use a different media to doodle with each one. There's a green. I know it won't be the same green, but that doesn't matter. There's a red. I know that's a pinky red, but again, what does it matter? Yellow. Oh, and there's a dark red. So there I've got 3 colours and, oh, 4 colours. They're rolling all over the place. Let's start with this yellow. So easy to just use the shape to start the doodling because you've got these beautiful abstract shapes on the page. I haven't completely dried that. I'm going to follow shapes. Just enjoy myself by creating little doodles, and my goal is to get it out of my head and onto the page, just to start to really not worry about the outcome, not worry about anything really. Stop thinking about stuff I'm going to put on some really soft music, so if you would like to hear it, you might want to turn the volume up. And if I make the music soft, because everyone has such incredibly different taste in music, just like in art, I find different people have different opinions about different pieces of music. So what I'm going to do is put it on really soft, and I've been doing this for a little while. Put the music on really soft, really easy for you to zone in and out if you want to. I'm enjoying that. This was a second red. It's actually a brown, I can see now. Yes, another pinky colour, that's better. I'm going to re-enhance these lines wherever I put that magenta, or whatever it was called. This one is called Charisma Process Red. It's very pink though. I think it should be called something else. Anyway, here's some music and some ideas to doodle. I'll be back in a moment when I start on the next one and talk about the different media. I'm not loving the outcome on this one, so I need to step back. I'm going to keep those three colours so that I don't switch colour. On the other hand, actually, I totally changed my mind now. Maybe what it needs is blue. Okay, really enjoyed myself in that one. I took one of the pieces of wax paper off and dried it, but allowed this one to stay on a bit longer because I'll get a better effect. So I'm going to peel it now. Yeah, look at that. Definitely going to allow that just to air dry. So I can move on to this one because that one's lovely. And it is calling for black. I've got two sizes of black markers, and of course I could continue with the Winsor & Newton marker, but there's no need to waste that one. This one's much cheaper. It's a Tombow and it's black and it's wonderful. So my method with doodling is to take the negative spaces and make a bigger deal of them. So I'm just going to continue with my method version of tracing because I'm looking at the edge that exists and just kind of drawing one about a millimetre in all around. I've never really thought that much about the way that I doodle. because I usually paint subjects, but doodling is the sort of thing that is so beautifully mindful. I just invented that triangle. And I've had a few really hectic days, so I just thought it was time to take a moment to get some lovely headspace settling. Because when hard things happen, it's really hard to remain focused and positive, which I try to be, but sometimes it is really hard, and it's the case for absolutely everyone. Oh, that's cool. It's also got a much finer end, so I'm just enjoying that a lot, so I might do some lovely circles. If I put circles over here, I'll draw focus, because there are no other circles in the whole thing, and then you look over there first. So I'll do a few more. And if you want to keep focus over there, then you just leave a few here. But if you don't want to, oh, I missed one, then do more circles, and then they just get integrated and less noticeable. I'm getting bigger with my circles already. And this is the fine tip. And yeah, that looks great. I'll just continue with that, I think. Circle everywhere. Really enjoying being quite relaxing. So I've done lots of strokes, and now I'm going to do lots of circles. So basic in a way, circles, strokes. They're not interconnecting those circles, so I'll just continue with the side-by-side circles. Oh, yeah. I'm drawing on the tape, and that'll give it a lovely different shape. Oh, there's a little tiny one there. There. Oh, the big ones are lovely. Let's find a spot for more big ones. Not that many white spots yet, so I'm going to move on to the where will I move? There's this lovely white light section there. So, okay, let's do some big, oh, I know, I'll do figure eights. Obviously need to practice that one, but this is the moment when I am practicing. Oh, that's better shape for it. And come up. Yep. Okay, I'll do a few more over here. When you get going with a piece of simple art, you can start to enjoy it. That's better with the darker colour around it. I think I'll go over here as well. So I think it definitely needs some of those beautiful darks. Oh, how much better is that? Just going back into the ones I've already done. Yeah, I'll do a big one just with the Posca pen. There. Yeah, they're lovely. Can't do small ones with this, but I can do big ones. Let's do a big one that goes off the page up here. Yeah, that's lovely. Maybe some more marks. Maybe re-emphasize marks. Maybe, nah. Let's outline on the colour. Yeah, that's it. Outline on the colour with that lovely. Wow, imagine if Kandinsky had access to Posca markers. How amazing that would be. That's cool. And that'll do. Oh, maybe some dots with the big one. I don't know what kind of a dot it will do. Does a better stroke. I'll do a stroke. That's cool too. Now it's just getting real busy, and I've really enjoyed that, so that's fine. This one is still drying, so I'm going to have to come back to that. And that leaves this beauty up here. I want to know whether it did incorporate. Yep, look, it's stuck. Perfect. It's a little bit, it's a tiny little bit damp over there as well. So I'm going to leave it there. These two I'll come back to at a later time, and maybe I'll make a video. I think I'll wait and see whether or not you guys are interested in that, because this doodling is not about creating a beautiful piece of art. It's about creating something that takes you out of your zone, and you get to create something that stops you thinking about the crap in your head. If you're still here watching, it's because you're interested in a little bit of colour information and a tiny bit of colour theory. I've got lemon yellow, which sits permanently here on my palette. I've got Amazonite Genuine, which sits here permanently on my palette. This is a totally new addition to my permanent palette colours. And then I've got permanent alizarin crimson, which is the same colour as alizarin crimson, but this is permanent alizarin crimson, meaning that it has a higher light fast rating than just alizarin crimson. So you can see here that green and red make beautiful complements. It's alizarin crimson is actually a beautiful complement to a pure green, which Amazonite isn't. This is just the way that I've set up my palette, but I do want to experiment with that green and that red. I want to know how that goes. And I've got a little bit of yellow over here, and it's lemon yellow, so it's a pure yellow with a tiny bit of blue. It's a cool yellow, and anything with a touch of blue is considered a cooler colour. So I'm just throwing that in there because as I'm painting, and you'll have seen whether or not I used it if you're watching this at the end of the video, I like the idea of adding in a little bit of brightness. I'll also be aiming to keep lots of the page white as I paint. Okay, there's the colours. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Please like and subscribe if you feel like it. If you got anything out of it, please like and subscribe. See you guys.